What if the food we eat every day is secretly setting off a massive chain reaction inside of us? One that starts in our gut, travels all the way to our brain, and ends up hijacking the very choices we think we're making. Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack today, the incredible domino effect of ultra-processed food.
So, have you ever been there? You get this intense, almost desperate craving for a certain snack, and it feels less like a choice and more like a command, right? Turns out, that's not just you lacking willpower. It's biology, and it all starts with what's on our plate.
And this is where the sheer scale of the problem really hits you. In both the UK and the US, these ultra-processed foods, we'll call them UPFs for short, make up more than half of the average person's diet. This isn't some fringe issue. For millions of us, this is the new normal.
Okay, so what exactly are we talking about when we say UPFs? It's really important to get this straight. We're not talking about simple things like canned beans or cheese. Nope. According to the leading classification system, NOVA, UPFs are industrial creations. They're made with stuff you would just never find in a home kitchen. Think lab-synthesized flavor enhancers and emulsifiers. They're engineered for one purpose and one purpose only: to be so incredibly delicious, so hyper-palatable that you literally can't stop eating them.
And that brings us to the very first domino to fall, the diet itself. We're going to see how these engineered foods have quietly taken over, setting this whole cascade in motion.
And here's the secret sauce, so to speak. These foods aren't designed to nourish you. They're designed to be overeaten. They use this perfect, calculated trifecta of fat, sugar, and salt to completely bypass your body's natural "I'm full" signals. It's like a biological hack that leaves your brain screaming for more, even when your stomach is saying, "Please no more."
Which, of course, leads to the next domino, your body's reaction. And we're not talking about something that happens over decades. The metabolic fallout from a UPF-heavy diet is immediate, and it throws your body into a state of crisis from the inside out.
And the science on this is just crystal clear. A major study from the NIH put people in a lab and gave them unlimited access to either UPFs or a whole food diet. The results were wild. The UPF group, without even trying, ate an extra 508 calories a day. It wasn't because they were hungrier, it's because the food itself drove them to keep eating.
But it's so much more than just calories. On a cellular level, these foods are causing chaos. They trigger something called oxidative stress, which is basically like an internal rusting process. This unleashes a flood of damaging particles called free radicals, increasing them by a massive 41% and kicking off inflammation all over your body. So let's trace this vicious cycle step by step. First, you eat the UPF, and you get this huge, rapid spike in blood sugar and insulin. This completely scrambles your body's instruction manual for how to store fat. So instead of going where it's supposed to, fat gets shoved into the wrong places, like your liver and your muscles. These misplaced fat cells get swollen and angry, and they start leaking inflammatory chemicals into your bloodstream. Before you know it, your whole body is in a state of chronic, simmering inflammation.
Now the next domino falls when that inflammation decides to go on a road trip. It doesn't just stay put. Oh no. It finds a direct superhighway that leads right to your body's command center, your brain.
And the battlefield for this is your gut. Look at the difference here. On the left, you have a healthy gut, full of diverse, happy microbes. But on the right, you have a gut on a UPF diet. It's a mess. The gut lining starts to break down, becoming leaky, which allows these inflammatory toxins, like something called LPS, to escape the gut and pour directly into your bloodstream.
See, your brain has this amazing defense shield called the blood-brain barrier. You can think of it like a super exclusive nightclub bouncer. But that constant flood of inflammation from a leaky gut acts like a battering ram. It weakens the barrier, it breaches the defenses, and it leaves your brain totally exposed and vulnerable.
And this, my friends, is where the story takes a really critical, kind of scary turn. With its security system down, the brain itself is now under direct attack, and the consequences are real and measurable. This isn't just a theory. This inflammation literally slows you down. For instance, in adults with obesity, a condition tied directly to high UPF intake, we see that cognitive processing speed is about 18% slower. That inflammation in the brain is literally slowing down how fast you can think and make decisions. And here is where the hijacking becomes so obvious. Using MRI scans, scientists can watch the brain's reward center in real time. And what they found is just stunning. Just seeing a cue for a UPF,
like a logo or a commercial, triggers a response that is 142% stronger than the response to whole foods. It carves out these addiction-like pathways, hardwiring you for that craving before you've even taken a single bite.
This whole process also messes with your fundamental hunger hormones. You've got leptin, which is supposed to yell, "Hey, I'm full." After a while, your brain just becomes deaf to it. The stop signal is completely ignored. Then you have ghrelin, the "I'm hungry" signal, which is supposed to shut off after you eat. Well, it doesn't. So you end up with a broken stop button and a go button that is just stuck on full blast.
And this quote from Professor Simon Capewell really just puts it all into perspective. He says, poor diet produces a bigger burden of non-communicable disease than tobacco, alcohol, and inactivity put together. Just let that sink in for a second. This is the final, devastating domino.
But, and this is a big but, the story does not have to end there. It is absolutely possible to stop this chain reaction. So now, let's talk about how we can break this cycle and start rewiring our bodies and our brains to get back in control. The really great news is that science points to a clear set of strategies. It all starts with healing the gut, adopting a whole food diet, and upping your prebiotic fiber, which is basically fertilizer for your good gut microbes. We can also help our metabolism reset with things like time-restricted eating. And, maybe most importantly, we can directly fight back against the brain hijacking through aerobic exercise, which actively reduces brain inflammation, and with practices like mindful eating.
Let's just zoom in on that last one, mindful eating. You can try this raisin technique yourself by just slowing down and engaging all of your senses with one single piece of food. Seeing it, feeling it, smelling it, tasting it. You are actively exercising and strengthening your prefrontal cortex. You're rebuilding your brain's brake pedal, which is what gives you conscious control back over your choices.
So when you really get down to it, it's all about this. Every single thing you eat is a piece of information you're sending to your body and your brain. That information can either keep that domino effect of inflammation and craving going, or it can start the process of healing and taking back control. So the only question left is, what message are you going to send next?